I returned back to my holding cell, and there was this old dinner sitting on my desk that was left there from me, probably around 4 p.m. And I opened it up. There was some sort of mystery meat, a hard cold rice, and cold mixed vegetables. But I gobbled it down because I was so hungry. I mean, it was probably about 6 o'clock, so the food had been sitting out a couple of hours. And, again, it had been a long time since I'd had anything to eat. I could look out that small window that was on the door of my cell and kind of tilt my head a little bit and see what the deputy was doing at her desk. And I don't know why that was ended up just being something that I would do. It was kind of like watching TV, a boring show, really. Anyway, so I laid down across the bed and just thought about how I wanted to grab a phone. I wanted to call my dad and my sister and my friend and let them know what had happened at court and what the judge had said. And so I got a piece of stationery and pencil and decided I would write about my day and write about some things that had surfaced on the beach 2 nights before I had gotten arrested. And I was standing out just looking over the Pacific Ocean, and I was just screaming, God, please help me to forgive my family and my ex-girlfriend. I mean, I already knew I was under investigation. I didn't know it was going to go this far, but something intuitively stirred up in me. It was almost like I knew, without knowing, that there was going to be an event. And so I wrote some things from my childhood. And then a couple of days later, I just got paranoid, with lack of food and the lighting and lack of sleep and no sunlight, not a lot of interaction with other people. A paranoia mindset creeps in. Anyway, so at 7 p.m., we were allowed to come out of our holding cells and use the phones, use the TV. And so I ran to the phones and I called my dad, called my sister. I mean, it's so late at night in Georgia when you make those 7 p.m. calls in California. So I did that, and then I still hadn't figured out the whole shower situation. I just knew that I had been in there 2.5 days, and I was starting to smell. I had not had a shower or change of clothes. And I just figured I really needed to get clean after being in those filthy, nasty, dirty holding cells all day for court. I walked up to the deputy's desk and I said, "How does this shower thing work?" And she said, you can take a shower during day room time. She said, "Here's a pack of shower gel." And it was just like this little pack of shower gel. And and you could use it for shampoo. And she she told me, as long as we were out, we could shower. So I went back up to my holding cell and had a hand towel. That was one of the things that we got. It was just like this old dingy hand towel. And I went back down and I stepped into this room. It had 4 shower stalls and then a big window, so everybody that was on the phones or watching the TV in the day room area, they could see in there as you showered. So I took off my blues and my underwear, and I kept my flip-flops on, and I stepped into the shower, and there was a button to press for the water to come out of the shower head, and there were no knobs, so you didn't really get to set the temperature. You just got what you got when it came out of the shower head, and it wasn't warm. Anyway, the shower was nasty. There was black pubic hair, empty shower gel packs laying all over the shower, and I just tried not to face it. And I shampooed my hair. I got myself clean, and then I stepped out and dried off, and I said, "Well, what do I do about my clean underwear and socks?" And then this deputy yells back, "You only get whites once a week, so you have to wash out what you have." And I was like, "You're fucking kidding me. I've got to put these nasty underwear on that I've had on for over 2 days back on, unless I wanted to wash them out, and then what? Hang them in that nasty cell and sit there without any on?" I mean, it was just, y'all, I mean, it's just, like, I just don't see how this can be okay. I mean, I don't live like that at home. And so I put my dirty clothes back on, and I headed up to the jail cell to comb out my hair with a 2-inch black comb. Thank God I had short hair and it didn't tangle. And I just wanted, I wanted to be out of that cell as much as possible. And the other inmates were down there watching TV and talking loud, and they were on the phones, and I just wasn't up to it, but I thought I might as well socialize a little bit while I'm here. And so when I walked down, all I could see was just this sickness and all these young women. I mean, they were so dope sick, coming off drugs. And so they were full of agitation. There was a lot of arguing. And then I heard a voice, "What you in here for?" And I said, "Well, I take care of my grandmother." And she had given me permission, and we had joint bank accounts. I had full power of attorney after my grandfather passed away, and everything was fine. And then when I was breaking up with the abusive girlfriend, she called my grandmother, who had just been diagnosed within the last few years with dementia. I mean, it hadn't progressed too bad, but it was enough to where you could put something in her head and get her upset. So, I said, she called my grandmother and told her I was stealing. And so grandmom and the family calls the police. And I said, so now I'm here until Georgia picks me up. I was arrested at the Tijuana border 2 days ago. And she said, "Oh, damn, girl." She said, "You gonna be all right?" And she said, "When you get to Georgia, you gonna bail right out." Well, right then, that statement that I had heard for the second time that day just felt, it made me sick to my stomach, because there was something within me that had a belief that I would not bail right out when I returned to Georgia. Anyway, it was almost 10 o'clock, and I knew the deputy would be yelling for us to get off the phones and get back to our cell soon. So I went ahead and went up to my cell and laid across the bed, just hoping I would go to sleep. About 30 minutes later, the door clicked, and this young Hispanic girl opened the door, and she was wearing her blues and holding her blankets in her arm. And I said, "Hey, how are you?" And she said, "I'm just waiting to bail out. I won't be here long." She said, "I got in a fight with my mom, and they called the damn police." And she said, "I've never been to jail before." Well, I almost wanted to laugh, because this sounded a lot like my chaotic upbringing, and something that would have happened, something that had happened to me. That's why I was sitting in there. So anyway, I was just glad to have another woman in that cell with me, so I didn't feel alone or closed in, even though it was getting late and it was our bedtime. It was just still nice to feel that company in there. And I told her, I said, the woman that was here before you, I said, she's pretty clean. And I said, I hope you get out of here soon. I said, this place sucks so bad. I said, I've been here for over 2 days waiting on Georgia to pick my ass up. And I said, I hope I can leave tomorrow. The lights were off, but you could still see enough to talk and see who was in there with you, because they weren't going to let it be completely dark. Anyway, I knew I did better with someone in there in that cell. And then I said these deputies try to use mind control over you. I said, it's horrible. I said, to have to ask for anything or get and then try to get an answer in this place. She laughed and agreed with what I just said. And I said, hey, have you ever seen that movie Friday? And she said, hell yeah. And she started laughing again. This was a moment to get my mind off anxiety. I had not laughed in about 3 days. So I said, Deputy thinks she got mind control. I said, she tells to be quiet, we be quiet. And I said, she leaves, we'll be talking again. That was one of the scenes in the movie Friday. And we just both started laughing, and we were just rolling on our cots, and she laughed and I entertained her some more. And that was a great distraction. Eventually I fell asleep, and I had a dream that my stepmom's mother, who had been, dead for years, but I dreamed that she came to comfort me and wanted to know if I was getting enough to eat in there, and that she was gonna get me whatever I wanted to eat. And I couldn't wait to call my stepmom the next day and tell her that had happened. Anyway, the next thing I remember, the lights were coming on and the door was clicking. 4 a.m., of course. Breakfast. Get your breakfast, take it back up to your cell. My roommate was still in there with me, so she hadn't bonded out. And as we walked down to grab the breakfast, she heard she was about to be released. So when we got back up to our cell, I asked her about her breakfast that she had just opened, and she said, I'm not going to be here much longer. She said, you know I'm leaving. And I said, well, can I have what you don't eat? I said, I'm starving in here. I said, if you don't mind. And she said, you can have it. She said, I'll eat when I get home. She said, it's too early. And she said, this does not look good. I was so grateful to be provided with a little bit of extra food. And I guess that was that spiritual meaning to my dream. Now that I'm at a different place spiritually, that's a huge connection. Anyway, so the deputy yells, roll it up. You're being released. And roll it up was for her to take everything that she came in there with, the blankets, the gown, the hand towel. Anyway, so my roommate folded up all of her things and walked out of the cell. And I was left alone and worried about what was going to happen to me. And it was still so early. But I knew I could try to get a little bit more sleep before that 7 a.m. day room time.